Welcome to Anything But Politics, which is what the title says. We talk about politics, yell about politics, scream about politics all the time. That's why this podcast was created. Really, it's a gift. Anything But Politics from my office family, where I get to have my friends on, and we talk about things. Legendary producer, that's you. Legendary producer, artist, writer, podcaster himself, podcast director and producer and creator now, and industrial tycoon, David Wallach. How are you, my friend?
I'm going to have you start writing my LinkedIn updates, man. Thank you.
But that's not bad. That was all written.
The power of ChatGPT. I'm happy to see you, dude. It's good to see you. You look healthy. You look great, and I'm always grateful that.
Well, sitting down helps.
No, we can see us.
Yeah. So listen, the whole point of this is to jump in and get away from politics for a short period of time, and people seem to enjoy it. But let's start out with the show business rule of plugs. You just started a podcast, which I think is a very interesting idea, and I love and support the Chicago Police Department. One of the people on your podcast is an ex-cop I know, and the other is a British lady. How do you put that together?
I was blessed to put this together. The name of the podcast is Yes, But You're Wrong, which is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And in this world, you know, especially with politics, which we're not talking about, people have the tendency to say, yes, but you're wrong. So I've been wanting to make this, and I couldn't find the right mix. Harriet Gould is a lovely woman in the UK. I met her last year when I was over there. She hosts a couple of different podcasts. She's a politician. She's a journalist. And then she and I talked about the two of us doing it.
Well, that's what I thought. Now, before you go any further, I thought, well, why aren't you doing it? Because you're the perfect guy to have that other perspective, but you found a guy.
Right. Well, contrary to what most people think about me, I can't stand the sound of my own voice. So I was in our dog park, and Rodney Watt, who's a former police officer and lives in my town, was talking to some moms about perimenopause, which, if you want to make some moms mad, that is definitely the topic. He's never heard of it, and he was asking them in a way that was curious and kind of obnoxious, but he kept getting them to give them information. And while he was talking, I brought up my phone. I just recorded him talking to these moms and sent it to Harriet. And I said, I think this guy should be the host. And by the time he was done, she texted me back. She's like, yes. And I had walked up to him, and Rodney has never had any media training. He's not like us, who's been in the media. He's just a guy. And I pitched the idea to him, and he looked at me and said, yes. And if you listen to the show, what's spectacular about Rodney and Harriet is it's a conversation. The one rule about this show is you have to ask the other person, what do you think? So I give them 5 topics: freedom of speech, my body, my choice, immigration. And we have some topics to talk about. And then the only thing they have to do is ask the other person, what do you think? Which is different than our world.
And you have to listen.
Yeah.
Ask and listen, because people don't listen anymore. So you ask, or you might even be predisposed to think you're going to hear something that's going to piss you off, but you ask and listen, and maybe your mind is open.
It's so beautiful. In our last episode that drops soon, it's My Body, My Choice, and they get into this heated argument about prostitution. And what's great about it is they're going after each other, but then they have 4 other topics to talk about. And in most instances now in our world, people would say, Steve, I can't talk to you. I got to walk away.
Right.
Adult enough to continue the conversation and respect each other, to continue with the flow of conversation. And it's just, to me, it's so beautiful the way they do it. And Rodney is out of his mind. People will ask me, is this guy actually playing a character? And he's just got such a bursting personality.
Well, he's got that Chicago, cliched Chicago for the rest of the country, but the actual real Chicago accent.
I can't afford a lawyer right now, so I use a lot of ChatGPT when Rodney says stuff, and so far we're good. But yeah, he's a Chicago guy, and she's a British politician, and she's very British and lovely. And the way they mesh together, the second I heard him talking about perimenopause, which you and I should not talk about, because it's a thing.
It's just a funny sentence. The second I heard him talking about perimenopause, it's like you were going to add with, I fell in love.
I fell in love. Yeah, it was perimenopause, and my heart went boom, boom, boom. So, yeah, I hope people give it a chance. It's Yes, But You're Wrong. It's on all the social media and all the Apple and Spotify and
everything else.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And the thing I like about it too is the juxtaposition of the voices and the accents are fine. That can kind of hook you in. But the listening piece that we discussed is very important. And Rodney strikes me as a guy who could dominate any conversation, whether he was dominating it or not. So he could go over the top. He could talk over you. In other words, you've whipped him into shape nicely.
He's thank you. I wish I could take all the credit for it. He's a really big-hearted guy. He's got a great backstory, and
Was he a cop in a city?
he was so Rodney was a cop in Highland Park, Illinois.
Okay.
Long story short, apparently the police in Highland Park were ripping people off blindly. So when you say, "Oh, I want to watch your house," I'm going out of town, watch my house, the cops would say, "Sure," and then they would rob the house and then blame it on someone else. And Rodney was a cop and wanted nothing to do with this. And as intense and as massive as Rodney can seem on the air, he went up against the police department and his brothers, which you don't do. It's that thin blue line. You never go against them, and brought this decades full of corruption down in Highland Park and changed the way the policing is done in Highland Park, and took heat for it, took death threats for it. And when you go against the police and your police, so you're doing a lot. So he's a guy of just
courage,
moral fabric, and courage, and he's a hero. And yeah, I love him to death. And people get pissed at his personality, but underneath that is this man who affected change. And in podcasts, we yell and scream and we say stuff, but he actually did something in this world, and he made it. And that's, to me, my hats off.
Well, that should be the marching orders for all of us in this life right now. You can post all damn day and you can meme all day. What have you done? What have you actually done? What risk have you taken? What have you stood for?
And he went up against it. And to me, that's just such a great thing.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So all right. Now, I want to ask you about something else. And this is something else I never thought. You and I have known each other for, 30 years. But I never thought I'd say this to you. How's girls flag football?
It's fantastic. I am the assistant coach at Loyola Girls Flag Football, Loyola Academy. I've been coaching on and off for 30 years. And my son, who entered high school, I couldn't coach him anymore. So I stopped. And this summer, I felt like I needed to do something for myself. We do a lot, but just for myself. And I sent an IM on Instagram to the head of Loyola Girls Flag Football, a guy named Connor Buckridge, who's just a spectacular coach. And he got back to me and said, "How'd you like to help us coach the team?" And it is the best part of my every single day. I love what the sport is. I love the athleticism the girls bring. It's one of the fastest growing sports. And it's just, I never thought at my ripe age I could learn more, because we stop learning, we start forgetting. And every day I get on that field, working with Connor and working with the girls and the team, it's just...
Is this a high school team? So you're talking about 14 to 18-year-olds?
Yeah, freshmen and seniors. We have a JV and a varsity team. Our season kicks off September 22nd.
Oh, so you're practicing every day?
We start practice. We're recording this August 11th, and today's our first day of full practice. We've had some camps, and it's, I've coached boys my whole life. I took a flag team to a national championship. I love flag. I think it's a really beautiful version of football. The girls, they bring different athleticism to it. And of course,
sure.
We had camp, and this girl's running down the field, one of our running backs, and the linebacker's going to cut her off. And she jumps in the air like Saquon Barkley, does a 360. The girl misses her, lands about 2 yards downfield, and runs for a touchdown.
Fantastic.
And I'm like, what am I seeing?
Right.
She goes, "Oh, I'm a figure skater, coach." Yeah, you are?
Yeah.
Boys bring action, and girls bring this different level of athleticism. Our punter, she kicks 60-yard spirals in the air.
Wow.
It's like Happy Gilmore. You're watching her kick the ball, and you're like, it doesn't make sense. And I said, "Maggie, did you play soccer? Have you been coached up?" And she's like, "No, I'm an Irish dancer, coach."
Well, there you go. Leg. Just add the ball.
They're so good, and they're just amazing. The Loyola Ramblers are, the Loyola Academy's got a great history of boys tackle football. They've won state twice.
Sure.
And I think that Coach Buckridge, who comes from Florida, his dad was a coach, he's a coach, and learning, he's funny. He's 28 years old, and I'm close to his dad's age. And to be able to, everyone says, "Oh, this younger generation, they're no good. They don't know anything." To sit and learn from a guy that young and feel his passion and his energy and learn about girls flag, because it's different. I look forward to it every single day, and I can't wait for the season to start.
So let me ask you a stupid question.
Yeah.
And this is not a joke, not a bit, none whatsoever. How do you do your halftime talk? Because obviously you're not going in the locker room.
No, it's an hour game, so it's a lot quicker than the boys' game.
So is it a running clock?
We have 4 quarters. Gosh, I think it's 4 quarters, but the season hasn't started.
Yeah.
But again, he's the head coach. He gives the talk. I sit back there.
But I mean, do you just the girls are in one corner of the field or something, or how do you do it? Okay.
They're opposite sides of the field. If you're using the Ted Lasso formula, I'm Coach Beard. I just sit there and.
Oh, is that right? Okay, all right. As long as you don't have the weird hallucinogenic episode, you'll be just fine. For if you watch Ted Lasso, that'll make sense.
I know we've none of that. And there's a new Lasso coming. Speaking of, there's a new season. They're shooting.
I know. It's crazy. They wrapped the whole thing up and they went, well, everybody wants more. This is crazy popular. Let's pretend the end didn't happen and bring it back. It's a little daunting. I mean, you've been in TV and film forever. If you figure out that chemistry and how to make that happen, it's pretty rare. And you sort of risk your legacy of the show by crapping on it if it turns out poorly. But then again, you look at Frasier. The Frasier reboot really hasn't worked. Everybody still loves Frasier. And there's other examples of that as well. You just don't want Caddyshack.
No, I hope it's good. I mean, I love positive in this world that we need more positive.
Yeah, amen to that.
If it's just a little bit of that magic, I'll be through.
All right, so let's begin. Again, these stories are anything but politics. And I'm going to start with conspiracy theories. I don't traffic in them. I don't think you do either, but they're out there. And there's one in the town that you and I are in, Chicago, which I don't even know if you're aware of. The theory goes like this. A mysterious group says there's a grown man living inside the Bean downtown at Cloudgate. The Bean is that giant bean-shaped, shiny metal thing, which you may or may not have seen live, folks. But the theory is that there's a man living inside it, may or may not be with his agreement to do so, and he should be at least out and talking about what's going on and why he's in there. Now, over the weekend, as you said, August 11th, we're just getting off Lollapalooza the other day. So the Lollapalooza attendees were encouraged to contact Alderman Brendan Riley and say, let that man out of the Bean. He is now asked, and if you know the alderman at all, he's a fairly plain-spoken guy. He is asked, not so nicely, to stop contacting his office. There's no one living inside the Bean.
Sober up.
So do you have anything like those that you go, well, maybe, and maybe it's something like, area 64? What's the place in Arizona?
51.
Area 51, that's it. I believe there's aliens. I don't believe they're the only people around.
There's that rock, the rock that's coming from Earth.
But do you have one? Do you got a flat Earth theory? You got any of those?
The big one right now is that meteor that keeps, it's like shooting off light. First of all, where does the guy go to the bathroom? If we're just going back to the Bean, my whole thing at my age especially is where can I go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
So if he's in there, cool, but where's he going potty? And eventually,
those decisions all day long have to be made. Every decision I make now is in regards to parking and where the bathroom is.
Yeah, no, no way. Like I won't sit. We're going to see the Savannah Bananas. And I'm like, I have to sit on the aisle because I have to go to the
right, because you got to get that. And if you see a bunch of old guys getting in a brawl, it's because they ran out of aisle seats.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No, the big space rock. There's a meteor. It's got a fun name, like, Chewbacca or something. It's heading towards Earth, and it's changing directions, and it looks like it's emitting light, and everyone is saying it's a spacecraft.
And I don't know anything about it. And this is one that's out there. And do you believe or not?
I've been reading about it, and Rodney, again, is like, oh, aliens, they're coming. It's shaped kind of like if you draw a UFO. It's more oval and oblong. And there's like little light shooting off of it, and it's sort of shifting directions. So it's not acting like a real meteor. So in my mind, I'm like, cool. I mean, there's got to be more intelligent life forms out there. But we're so obsessed with their coming to Earth. Like, there's got to be a better place. Everyone goes to Orlando. Like, there's something. Like, what about with Sarasota? Is so much better. So
right. Why just go to Orlando and throw money at the mouse? No, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, listen, I believe that there are other galaxies. I mean, space is gigantic, infinite, beyond our comprehension. You think there's not another Earth-like object out there somewhere? Of course there is.
We're not that great. We're like Oak Park. We're just fine.
Well, and the thing is, I think where people lose their belief in that is not just ego. It's why do all the aliens go to Wisconsin or Iowa and only probe farmers? You don't think that's the case.
Yeah, when you could do so much better in South Beach if you're looking for
Right. If you're an alien, head for South Beach. That's right.
South Beach.
Yeah. Hey, good transition.
Thanks.
Here's another theory. A conspiracy theory. Tinder is literally a project designed by the U.S. military to break women down to the point where they just say F it and they marry any random army dude after 2 weeks so they don't have to put up with another you up text.
Huh. You see, Bill Maher did a great thing about online dating and Tinder in the fact that it's actually bad for men because it's sort of the opposite. Men are being objectified and swiped on. So on the algorithm pushes the best 10% to the top. But I'm going to get this wrong, so it's close. But there was something that only a 28-year-old man on average now has sex twice a year because of online.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I mean, at our age, and I've been married for 20 years, it's not that unbelievable. But
no, at 28, you think back to 28, I go, you kidding me?
Yeah, no, yeah. So I think that, I'm not sure if the Army guys are getting it either because Tinder is really messing up how people meet. People don't go up to each other in a bar anymore.
Crazy. I mean, listen, my problem. I have to tell women all the time, hey, my eyes are up here.
Up here, yeah.
I'm tired of, just being a piece of meat. You know the drill. You have the same problem.
It's my Spanx are strangling me, but yeah, right now
I get it. I totally get it. All right, here's another one. The Tom Cruise film Cocktail was funded by the glass industry. They recouped their costs within 2 weeks of the film's release, thanks to the reenactments by inept barmen who kept breaking glass.
I was one of them.
I thought you were in Cocktail.
I was one of those inept barmen. I fully believed.
I thought you did most of the broken glass stunts. That wasn't you?
It could have been. A lot of people think of me and Tom Cruise in the same sentence. No, I was a bartender at a bar in Kansas City, Len Dawson's bar. Len, the quarterback of the Chiefs.
Were you a good bartender or were you bad?
I was a horrible waiter.
Okay.
I
can see you being a good bartender because you tell good stories, you listen.
Yeah, because bartenders can be sassy. Waiters, like my thumb would be in their mashed potatoes, and waiters have to be kind of down the middle. With the bartender, you could be funny and irreverent. And I could spin things, but I couldn't do the catch behind you throw a ball. Yeah. So I was shattering stuff constantly. And Len Dawson, who would show up, did not like the fact that I was breaking stuff.
No, it's inventory. Cost Lenny some money.
Yeah.
And you know what? Every glass you broke was less cigarettes for him to smoke.
Yeah.
Big smoker, Len Dawson.
Super Bowl one. But again, there's the flair. That's a job. There's flair competitions. It's like it'll be an Olympic sport at some point. Those guys are incredible the way they do it.
Yeah. Here's another one. Have you ever been in one of the Amazon grocery stores?
Yes.
So have I. They have the carts where you don't have to check out. The carts scan your purchases, and you can just walk out the front door. Amazon has now announced they're phasing out the checkoutless grocery stores because of the lack of business, probably because people believe the stores were developed only to collect data on you, and the prices were a little higher to begin with. I mean, look, yeah. I mean, every time you give your email to somebody, people are collecting data on you. So I guess I'm in on this one.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'd buy that. I think Jeff Bezos he is not one of my favorite people, but yeah, I'd buy that. I mean, data is king right now, and I'm sure this platform is gathering data. You're getting data on your podcast, so yeah, I'm down with that one for sure.
I'll give you one more, and I love this one.
Yeah.
No IKEA employee has ever actually applied for the position. Instead, they were all once customers looking to buy reasonably priced furniture, but they got lost in the store and they were hired because they couldn't find the exit. There you go. There you go. That one's a winner.
I will drive out to Schaumburg, and I live in the northern suburbs, just to get the meatballs.
Yeah, and I'm told by actual people from actual Swiss areas that they're pretty good. By comparison.
Yeah, no, they're great. I love it. It's an easy dinner.
But that's like going to Macy's to have the Frango mints, right?
They're not the same.
Oh, they're not the same.
Yeah, no, they're not the same.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not Marshall Fields.
All right, so moving on to allergies. Do you have any?
All the allergies.
You're clearly not Amish then. Here's the headline. Allergies seem nearly impossible to avoid unless you're Amish. There is a remarkably low incidence of allergies in the Amish population.
So when they take their gap year and they get to be like all fun, you think they get the allergies?
Probably. Once they take off their Ezekiel takes off his regular garb
Yeah.
and he becomes one with the rest of us. Then he comes home sneezing and coughing.
Yeah. They get a couple STDs, a couple hangovers, and then they get allergies and they got to.
Here's the stat. Only 7% of Amish children had a positive response to one or more common allergies.
Again, it's a study. Someone said that if you eat honey that's grown locally, like in your area, it really prevents allergies. And I'm guessing the Amish have their own bees and they eat their own honey.
Well, plus they're outside throwing up barns all the time, right? I mean, you develop an immunity to things, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. I'd have that itchy underwear would have me out of my mind. I would have a big old rash compared to the allergies.
So you stopped wearing that, is what you're saying? Well, you're not saying that. All right, I don't mean to get ahead of you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Let's see. A scientist has resolved the Bermuda Triangle issue. Now, can you explain to people what the Bermuda Triangle is or was or might be?
It used to terrify me when I was a kid. I mean, I would have nightmares about the Bermuda Triangle. There's an area between, I'm making a triangle because it's a podcast. There's an area between Florida and Bermuda that it sort of makes out a triangle.
It's triangle shaped, and this is on the YouTube channel, so people can see whatever you do with your fingers. Keep that in mind. But yeah, it's an upside down heart.
Ships and planes. There's a good amount of ships and planes that have disappeared in that area. And legend has it that it's cursed and you don't want to travel via ship or plane in that area because you could disappear.
An Australian scientist says he solved it. He's not the first to say this. And the theory is that the Bermuda Triangle is difficult to fly in. There are erratic weather patterns in that specific geographical area. The seas are a bit rougher there. And the entire case comes down to probabilities. And the probabilities are you are more likely to crash. You are more likely to sink because you're in a difficult part of the sea. I would only say this. If that's the case, there would be perfect storm movies 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Because the North Sea is the worst place to ship and to try to survive shipping in the world. Yeah, I don't know if you heard the Titanic went down there. And the North Sea seems to be a bit rougher. But since I rarely go on boats, what the hell do I know?
Yeah, no, cool. I mean, there's places that want to fly over Mount Everest. I heard the same thing. There's something going on with the weather patterns. Yeah, by the way, I did a documentary on the Titanic, Steve.
Yeah, talk about that.
It's been a couple years. It was for the 110th anniversary of the Titanic.
I watched it. It was great.
Did you? Thanks, buddy.
Of course I did.
All right. Thanks. We found stories that no one had ever heard. And a real quick one is we found the son of a survivor. There's one guy who's the son of a survivor who's still alive. And he told the story about his father. He was a Chinese immigrant that was owned by the White Star Line who was going to the Bahamas. So he could actually go to the Bermuda Triangle at some point to work for White Star. And he escaped, and he was actually floating on the door, and they saved him. And when James Cameron was writing the movie, he heard the story about the guy, and
that's why he used the door.
That's why he used the door. Yeah.
Come on.
There's actually a scene they did in the movie where they saved the guy in the door too, and then they were like, "Nah, we should."
I think your guy though would have let DiCaprio climb up on the door.
You would think he seemed like a mensch. I mean, his son makes great egg rolls. He owns a Chinese restaurant in Janesville. I'm pointing at Janesville out my window.
Right. For you YouTubers, Wisconsin's that way.
That way. It's somewhere.
Pardon my throat here. I've been fighting allergies. I'm not Amish.
It should be.
I got one more, and then you're going to tell me a James Lovell story for our fifth. Yeah. Hobbies for older adults that improve brain and body health from Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart, of course, would be an older adult. I don't even like the word hobby. I don't like the word retirement. I don't like the word hobby. I mean, if you're collecting stamps, if you're building models, great. But a hobby to me sounds like you quit.
Do you have a retirement plan? Like I've got a retirement job figured out. It'll be 10 years before I can retire, but I've got a job lined up.
People would argue I'm retired now, but I've got about 11 different projects I'm doing since the death of radio.
Yeah.
All right. So here's some hobbies according to Martha Stewart. Her first hobby listed is walking. That's not a hobby. Walking isn't a hobby.
You'd have to go to the bathroom. Yeah. No.
Yeah, well, you can only go so far before you have to turn around, or you better have some friendly neighbors. Learning new languages.
I think the English language was skibbity, and what the Gen Zs are doing it as a new language. My 12-year-old speaks skibbity.
What is that?
It's called brain rot. Brain rot, that's what he calls it. Brain rot is the language of Gen Z. So skibbity toilet is one of their things.
Really?
Calling everyone bruh. And he and my 16-year-old at dinner will talk, and I'll look at my wife, and I'm like, I don't know what they're saying.
My 6-year-old grandson's been calling me bruh. So that's skibbity?
Using Riz. Riz is like if you're good with the ladies, you have Riz because it's charisma. Yeah, but they shrink it. So that's a new language.
I heard somebody the other day use the word rad.
Oh, I love rad.
Didn't that end in the 80s?
Yeah, totally radical. Tubular, right?
Yeah.
Wayne's World?
Yeah, but you're right. Yep. So learning new languages seems like you would do it with intent because your brain forgets things you don't use, like languages. So why would I learn, say, something easy like Mandarin Chinese and then not use it? So again, I don't know that Martha Stewart understands the definition of what a hobby is. Now, here's one you and I are both big fans of: quilting.
Oh, I love a good quilt. Yeah, who doesn't?
I don't have a clue. Do you make quilt with those hooks? You hook your quilt?
You've seen me play golf. I've got meat fingers. I couldn't. No, I would never be able to.
She said skills that activate working memory, episodic memory, and reasoning can help prevent the onset of things like dementia. Spending about 16 hours a week over 3 months can help your general brain strength, but learning quilting, and also she adds photography. Photography, here we go. First time. Quilting and photography could be hobbies. Photography could be a hobby. But my phone takes phenomenal pictures. Yeah.
I believe we should take a selfie.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't know if I can pull this off.
Yeah, well, hold on. We'll do it. You want to do it at the same time?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, ready?
Hold on. You got one of those fancy cases, you know what I mean?
And otherwise, it's all jacked up.
All right, here we go. No, this is good because we're going different ways. On 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
There.
It's fantastic.
There. Put it on the social media.
Right now, people are wondering why they tuned in.
Why does that happen? Yeah.
But again, it's on YouTube. And if you go to the YouTube Live from My Office channel, you get to see this and our regular Live from My Office podcast. Let me go through a couple more of these hobbies because I want to hear James' Lovell story. Pursuing education. You're a lifetime learner. That's not a hobby.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of soft agree with her because I'm learning football and I'm not retired, but it's like I'm learning new things and keeping your mind active. Let's go with that.
All right, now here's one that I would love to see Martha Stewart do, but I bet you already do this. I'd like to learn this. Juggling.
I would pay to see Martha Stewart juggling. Not a lot, but if she had like an OnlyFans juggling page, I'd throw it up.
Martha Stewart juggling could be a primetime special. Could save the network.
Her and Snoop.
Yeah. Snoop juggling. Again, very, very good. Video games is listed as a hobby. Mindfulness, not a hobby. I think Martha Stewart's hobby ought to be finding the definition of hobby and rewriting the article.
Yeah. A good hobby for Martha Stewart would be shutting the heck up.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. All right, now, the great James Lovell.
Yeah.
James Lovell, played by Tom Hanks in Apollo 13. For you kids not old enough to understand and appreciate the brilliance of the Apollo space program, it was incredible. And science delivered so many things from those Apollo years that we now use today. You would not have the internet. And on a separate note, you wouldn't have Velcro.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing he used both, though not in the same way. So there's just, if you ever want to see everything space did, just Google things we got from outer space trips or outer space or the Apollo program, anything like that in Google, and you'll get a list. So my experience with Captain Lovell was many interviews. And he was kind enough, because he lived in the Chicago area, to come into WGN multiple times. He used to do that with Spike O'Dell. And then after Spike left, he used to come in and see me. Phenomenal guy, exactly who you would hope he would be. And actually, I was blessed to meet many of the astronauts. Some of them were pretty funny. They were all space cowboys. And a few of them were ladies' men, because you can imagine what rock stars they were back in the day. And I asked one of them, I said, when you met a young lady and you wanted to impress her, what would you do? And Lovell stepped in. He said, well, you do what I do with my wife. I would take her outside and go, you may think I should take out the garbage, but he points up at the moon. He goes, I was there. And I named a mountain range, or was it a crater after you? I can't forget. He named something after his wife. But you had an encounter with Lovell.
I did. It's all your points. Gentleman's gentleman. I mean, these guys, as much as we're trying to get clicks and likes in this world and we have influencers, no one combined has done what the Apollo and the Mercury astronauts did. They strapped them with nuclear bombs for God and country. That's it. Not for likes. I don't know. Some of them didn't even get raises. They just did it because it was their duty. And to me, that already makes you a cut above the rest.
Yeah, because especially the early astronauts, well, even Apollo, they had no idea if it would work. I mean, look what happened to the two shuttles when we had the greatest science we ever had to that date. And God bless the victims. But for the Apollo astronauts, after Apollo 1 with that horrible accident.
Yeah.
So you're right. I mean, you talk about courageous, unbelievable.
Now, I was tasked. I worked for CNBC at the time, and they wanted to do a show about innovation, and Jim was the host. And they said, "Hey, you got to go to his house in Lake Forest, and you got to get to know him, and you got to spend time with him." Geez, I mean, sitting in his house, and the movie had already come out, and getting to know him, and we would go to lunch and talk. The thing I remember about Jim is we'd get to a door, restaurant doors, and he would open the door for you. I'm like, "No, after you, Captain Level." He's like, absolutely not," because that's what those guys were. They were gentlemen. They were cut above, and he would never not let you go in the door first. But we rented, again, Chicago kid bucket list. We rented the Museum of Science and Industry to film in front of his capsule. And they would only let us shoot at night. So we're locked into the Museum of Science and Industry, which again is amazing. Locked in with Jim Lovell. And in between takes, he would start telling stories. You're like, "Oh, and after a while, I had to separate him from the crew because everything would stop when he would talk. I look over my shoulder, and there's 100 people that are supposed to be doing.
They're not doing any work because they're listening to Captain Lovell.
Listening to Captain Lovell. But I'd always told him I wanted to be an astronaut. My dad worked for NASA, and I'm 6'4". I was 6'4" when I was 13. So I was
can't have you too tall.
Too tall, yeah. And I said I want to try weightlessness, and he convinced me to go skydiving. Set it up, made the date. Was waiting for me on the ground, gave me a hug.
Wait a minute. He was there when you dove?
Yeah. We found a place up I keep pointing to Wisconsin.
How cool is that?
Right? Yeah. He's like, "If you want to do it, I got a guy. I'll make it happen. I trust him. You will jump with him," and jump from 17,000 feet. And when my feet touched the ground, the first person to wrap his arms around me was Jim Lovell.
How great is that?
They also called me a wimp because I threw up. But
because you what?
I threw up.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
17,000 feet, boys and girls, is 3 miles. That's a long ways.
It's up there. It's way up. Yeah. Because of my size, and there was a guy strapped to me, and I think maybe because Lovell, we went higher than you're supposed to, and we did a mile somersault, is what the guy told me. And he meeting him was all the people that you've met and I've met. We've been blessed with meeting some pretty spectacular people.
He's right up there. He's absolutely right up there.
And then Gene Cernan was number 2, who was the guy on the moon. I got to meet him, and it's not even a close second. It's like those two, and then you, and then
right. Yeah, the list drops off precipitously.
It does, but it was a shot. I started crying when I got a text from a friend that said he passed. I just
incredible.
Yeah, and the world lost, and we're losing real heroes.
And that's why if you're a grandfather or your age, or even if you're a dad, you got to talk to your kids about the history because you can't be guaranteed they're learning it in school, or the stuff they're learning in school, of course, is buffeted by many other things as well. And sitting down and having a conversation with your kids instead of them having screen time and killing a cartoon alien, talk to them about outer space, talk to them about things. Take them outside and have them look up at the stars.
Yeah. It's going back to why I hate Jeff Bezos. Going up in a balloon with a bunch of celebrities, men or women, you're not an astronaut. These guys had the right stuff. And if you haven't seen the right stuff, go see the right stuff.
Actually, that's a great double. You see the right stuff, and then you see Apollo.
Come over, we'll sit on.
And here's the thing, and you know this. This phone, this has more computing power times X than the Apollo rockets had in their entire mission. That's why when the shit hit the fan, Houston, we have a problem. They figured that out on paper. Pen and paper and math.
Right. Abacuses and stuff. Now it's I'm not going to get started, but you're right. The technology is advanced. We're not using our brains. These are movies that should be actually shown in school.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I hope they are.
Yeah.
My friend, it's great to see you. My best to your family. God bless you all. And go get those girls a win today. Get them practiced up. When's your first game?
August 20th.
It's coming.
Yeah. So let's Travelers, listen to Yes But You're Wrong, and it's so great to see you, man. It's
And where do we follow you on social?
Yes But You're Wrong is, oddly enough, no one took the handle, so it's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
Okay,
YouTube. Yeah,
perfect. It's a great David Wallach standing ovation would work, but my mic cords aren't that long.
like everybody, it's great to see you. Thank you.
All right, stand by one sec. Don't hang up. Don't hang up.